Hi, Highland Oaks family. This is Kevin, and this is your Tuesday Daily Devotional. Do you remember the first time that you rode a bike successfully? Or do you remember the first trip you ever went on? Or maybe the first time you tried playing a musical instrument, maybe that was at school or somewhere else. I remember, weirdly specific as it may be, I remember the first time that I tried drawing a Pokemon, which, if you haven't been around in the last 20 or so years, is this little cartoon character, their little creatures and everything. And they really took off and became really popular whenever I was in kindergarten. And in kindergarten, I was very well known for being able to draw well. I could draw bugs especially well. I drew bugs all the time, and people thought that I was really good at drawing bugs. But then I started liking Pokemon, and I started trying to draw Pokemon, which were a lot harder to draw. And I still remember the first time that I drew Pokemon in class, people gathered around, and where usually they were saying, "Oh, cool, like, nice, cool bugs, man," because kindergarten was a fun time. Instead, they were asking me, "What's that? What is that supposed to be?" And I would tell them what Pokemon it was, and they knew, because they also were getting into it. It was really popular. And they would say, "Oh, it doesn't look like that." And even in kindergarten, that was kind of a hit to my little self-esteem, right? It was my first time trying it out, and I did not meet the same reception that I had before, that I had in the past, and that I expected, not only from other people, but from myself, right? Have you ever thought about how many firsts there are in the Bible? And even beyond, the first day of creation, or the first covenant with God, or any of that, there are all these firsts that have to do with people, right? The first time someone had to lead a whole people group, right, out of enslavement with Moses. The first king in Israel. The first judge before kings even started happening, right? The women who were the first to preach the good news of Jesus Christ's resurrection. Even Jesus had some firsts, right? His first time in the temple, right? His first encounter with his Jewish relationship with God, right? His first miraculous work in turning water to wine at the wedding. And it's funny, I don't know that we always think about how many firsts there are in the Bible and how many first occurrences there are that involve people, alongside something that we do usually pay attention to, which is the fact that all these stories of people have to do with God using imperfect people. A lot of those tend to happen whenever people are having to do something for the first time, either for themselves or in the whole biblical narrative, right? And I think about that in the context of the last couple of weeks, right? A lot of you, for the first time, had to be homeschool teachers. Some of you had to, for the first time, take online classes. For the first time, you had to actually stay put. For the first time, you had to make do with the groceries that you had rather than go outside. You had to get rid of a weekly meeting with some friends. Whatever it was, chances are you've had some firsts. And in the midst of that, I just want us to really pay attention. Not only have we been discussing how God is present in the midst of all this, but that really matters for the way that we understand our own role and the grace that we extend to ourselves and others. Because a lot of that doesn't make it online or into stories also, right? A lot of the time we expect success. We want to try and nail it the first time that we try something new. We expect perfection of ourselves, and not only is that unrealistic, but it's probably just unhealthy as well. Firsts are their very own thing. They are special in that it is a sort of debut, a first crack, right? A first draft at something. And perfection is not expected nor anticipated, but there is beauty in the mess and trying to sort through. And so if something has not gone according to plan the last few weeks, and if something continues not to go according to plan, that is not your fault, and God is still very much in the midst of that. In fact, a lot of the mess that comes from our first time and our first failure and our trying again and all of that is really where meaning is and can be found. And so, friends, don't be afraid of your firsts coming through. God is still very much working in that. That is how creative love and compassion is generated, how it happens. And that is for you, that is a gift for you, even if it doesn't feel like a gift right in that moment. And so, friends, here's to many more firsts. May we continue on our journeys and the bliss of the permission to fail and try again and have a second try and a third and so on in the midst of this new season. Thinking of you, love you, and hope to see you real soon.